Atul Krishna Prabhu. Atul Krishna Prabhu joined Iskcon's Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir in 1985, and since then he has been very actively enthusiastically serving the movement of Srila Prabhupada, Iskcon. From 1986 to 96, he served in Melbourne, Australia as a book distributor and fundraiser. And then in 1996, on order of spiritual master, he went to Bangladesh, and he was there 4 years preaching from village to village. And because of his enthusiastic preaching village to village, he learned Bengali fluently. So now he can speak in Bengali as well. And from 2000, he has been actively involved in Mayapur Institute. In Mayapur Institute, he teaches both in Bengali and English. He teaches Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, teaches training courses, Vedanta and all such courses. He travels to different places around the world. He travels to different places in India, Bangladesh, Southeast Asia, Australia and Middle East. And he also served as chairman of Iskcon Board of Examiners, which sets the standard for Shastric study courses in Iskcon. And especially we are very honored because every year he makes point to come to Kolkata Rath Yatra, though he has many busy schedules, but during Rath Yatra he is always there to give his valuable association and inspire devotees here at Kolkata. So let us welcome His Grace Atul Krishna Prabhu by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribo! Haribo! Haribo!
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Bye.
Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Vihari Madhava Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivardhari Jai Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivardhari Jashodanandana Jai Brajajana Ranjana Jai Brajajana Ranjana Nandana Jai Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Kunja Vihari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Kunja Vihari Jai Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Jayam Vishnu Patmanam Hamsha Purja Jata Jaya Ashtatara Jata Sushman Chala Abhacharan Bina Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Iskcon Pratishtha Jai Kishore Prabhupada ki Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki Shamaveda Gaur Bhavata Vrinda ki Jagannath Swami ki Rath Yatra Mahamahotsav ki Granthar Srimad Bhagavatam ki Shishini Dai Gaura Siddhanata Brahmanande It's there. There's a book. No book. Oh, I have a book. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jitapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Shakala Jatam Shakala Shri Jivam Shadvaidam Shavadudam Parijana Shaidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivi Shakam Gitam Shri Mantra Guru Ajota Shika Guru Ganta Chardane Age Gaudiya Bandhan Banshaka Patu Besta Prikashan Vibhacha Padikanam Papam Bhavashim Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Smriti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dhanam Vishnu Saraswati Devi Gauravan Nirvishesha Shankar Krishna Deshnarne Shri Prabhupada Ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dharma Projita Kaitava Paramanian Matsanam Satam Prashna Shivadam Tapatrai Unmananam Srimad Bhagavatam Mahamanekad King Vaipara Ishra Saddha Riddhi Avarudyate Adda Puti Vishta Chilakshana. It's text number 14, chapter 9, canto 1. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam shapalo yad pashe loko vayur iva ganavali. Sarvam, all this, kala kritam, done by inevitable time. Manye, I think. Bhavatam cha, for you also. Yat, whatever. Apriyam, detestable. Sa palaha, with the rulers. Yat vase, under the control of that time. Loka, everyone in every planet. Vayur, the wind carries. Iva, as. Ghana avali, a line of clouds. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just like the clouds are carried by the wind. Translation responsively. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Bangla Anubad, Bishmadev. Aman মন্তব্য হচ্ছে যে এইসব কিছু কালের প্রভাব, কালের নিচে সবাই নিয়ন্ত্রিত, যেভাবে মেঘ আকাশের হাওয়ার মধ্যে চলে যায়। Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is control by time all over the space. There is control by time all over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over the planets. All the big gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable kala, or time, controls even the action of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhisthira could not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world, Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequences. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material existence. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahman and Vaishnava, following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time. Therefore, one should not grudge being controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. Srila Prabhupada ki. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. Dharma nishta punya karma vano koshta grahan got habe ejar jagate. However, the suffering that the most pious, or let's devotee. The topic here is that Bhishmadev is confused because they suffered so much. The Pandavas suffered so much. Bhishmadev vibranta hai che karan paj Pandava au kashta pechen jodio otanta priya bhagavan bhakta. There are a few verses here. He's perplexed. How is it that those who are so much surrendered to the Lord, so much devoted to the Lord, what does Krishna say? Ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya mayite teshu cha apyaham. Ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya. Those who worship me. Prabhupada translates bhajan as service. Ye bhajanti. Those who serve me. Ye bhajanti tamam bhaktya, with love. Mayite. They're always thinking about me. They're always absorbed in me. Teshu cha api, and I am always absorbed in them. I'm always absorbed in them. Mad anyat te najanati. Mad anyat, besides me. This is Gavrasha Muni, I think, is saying this. Mad anyat, besides me, te najanati. They do not know anything. They're not interested in anything besides me. Naham tebyo managapi. And I am not interested in anything besides them. So how is it possible that the Lord, he says he's always interested in his devotees, he's always thinking about his devotees. And such a relationship he has with the Pandavas, they're not ordinary devotees, they're intimate friends, they're associates. They're performing pastimes together. This is after the Battle of Kurukshetra. After the Battle of Kurukshetra is being... So all of those incidents where the Lord was reciprocating so intimately with the Pandavas, that again, Kurukshetra, Sri Krishna, emon doya, emon sneha punno bevaha, Arjuna shange, Paj Pandav der shange, sneha punno bevaha, shampur ko stapan kora, Paj Pandav der, Sri Krishna, ki kore, ওনারা এমন অন্তরঙ্গ ভক্তগণ কিভাবে সম্ভব ওনারা কষ্ট পাবেন এই তো প্রশ্ন Bhishmadev জিজ্ঞাসা করছেন. This is the philosophical question that's being discussed. So the answer to this question is given by in an analogy that Prabhupada gives. He gives an analogy. Upamane madhame Prabhupada bujaichen utor. That is that just like in the family, there's a notun bo. The son gets married, and the wife, the young wife, she comes to the house, and there in the house is the mother, the father, even the elder brothers. They may have their wives. It's a very hierarchical system in the family life in Bengal. Everyone has their position. There's a special name for everybody. A special name. It's not that everyone's equal. In the West, everyone's equal. No distinction. ভারতীয় সংস্কৃতি সবাই বিশেষ পদ আছে। তো নতুন বউ আসেন বাড়িতে, নতুন বউ সব শিখতে হবে কার কাছ থেকে? শাশুড়ি মা কাছ থেকে নতুন বউ। She will learn from the son's mother, from her husband's mother, what he likes, what to cook, everything. It's not like in the modern times already that a girl and a boy know each other very well. This is mlecha jabon bibaha. But in the advanced culture, you actually don't know the girl. Even the first time you meet is when you're married. So in this way, they have to learn. The girl has to learn what to cook, how to serve, how to please the son, the new husband. She learns from the mother. But sometimes the shashuri onek rag hoy, notun bouke, shashuri rag. But because the daughter, the new wife, she can be traumatized, just like when Devaki was married to Vasudev, Kamsa was also accompanying her, isn't it? Isn't that right? Kamsa was the brother. Yeah. He was accompanying her to the house of the father, of the new father. Shoshur Shashur Barite Borobai Dada Oni Jachin. Because the girl is afraid, she's traumatic. It's probably the first time she's left home. So where the brother is accompanying her along. So then she needs to learn what to do. But the Shashuri Ma Nijin Meyeke Boka Kore. Nijin Meyeke. The mother, she chastises her daughter. And in that way the new wife she can learn. But because she can't, too much for her to be chastised, too traumatic for her to be chastised immediately, directly. So in this case, we have to say that when Sanjay asks, when Dhritarashtra asks Sanjay, Kim akurvata Sanjaya, Samaveta yutsva mamika pandavaschaiva, Kim akurvata, what happened, what did they do? And whole Bhagavad Gita is there, and at the end, he says that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanuvadara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruvaniti Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, certainly there will be victory, there will be opulence, there will be glory, there will be morality. So the victory has to be shown that the victory, for those who are following Dharma, there is ultimate victory. It's the conclusion. This has to be proven, it has to be demonstrated. So for the ultimate victory, prior to the victory, there must be injustice. And the injustice is rectified. So therefore, in order to show that the devotee is always protected, Name Bhakti Pranashiti, then the devotee has to be unjustly treated and then protected and delivered by the Lord. So who's prepared to experience that unjust treatment in order for the Lord to show that ultimately his devotee will be victorious? So therefore, the Antaranga Bhaktagan, Sheba Grahan Karen, O Koshta Pavin. Antaranga Bhaktagan, O Koshta Pavin, Degaite Bhagavan Ki Bhave Bhakti De Raken. So they accepted, they're prepared to accept the suffering. And Prabhupada suffered. When he began the preaching mission, Prabhupada was frustrated in preaching in India. Is frustrated preaching in India. How is that? Well, isn't it that the Lord arranges everything for his pure devotee? But Prabhupada had so many obstacles he had to face. In Janshi, he set up the whole thing, League of Devotees. He had it up and running, momentum, looking like an organization ready to take over the world. And then the mayor's wife says, no, that's for our ladies' club. How does Krishna let that happen? Is Krishna not in control? And then Prabhupada attacked on the street in Delhi by a cow. Was Krishna's not in control? Prabhupada struggling to get to America, struggling to get the P form. Even that story is there. He went in Mumbai, and then they said the officer came back and said, Swamiji, your application rejected. How is that possible? He's Krishna's dear devotee. How is it not Krishna's not arranging everything? No. And Prabhupada said, no, I want to see the department head. I wanted to see the department head. Prabhupada showing determination. It's not that bhakta হয়েছে সব কিছু সহজ কোনো পরিশ্রম হয় না কষ্ট হয় না কষ্ট হয় ভগবানও ব্যবস্থা করেন ভক্তদের জন্য কষ্ট দেখাইতে ভক্তদের গুণ Similarly here Bhishma Dev he's suffering with so many arrows he's lying there in so much pain he doesn't even leave his body Krishna wants to show that even under such extreme circumstances, his devotee is fully competent to give transcendental instruction. Even under such... So, in other words, he's suffering. He's suffering extreme. Prabhupada suffered a lot when he first came to America. We hear that he would regularly go to the office, ticket office, and look, when are the boats going back? And his typewriter was stolen, his draft Bhagavad Gita manuscript. Would that not any ordinary devotee forget it? Obviously Krishna doesn't want me here. Such determination, we wouldn't be able to tolerate such reverses. But it becomes glorious. In the case of Prabhupada and the ultimate victory, it becomes so glorious. The reverses, the difficulty, the austerity, it becomes so glorious, like emblems of the glory of the Prabhupada, of the victory from such difficult circumstances. So ebabe bhaktarao koshtapan dekano jonna bhagavan dekaite emon doyamoy emon kripamoy bhaktader jonna antim bhabe nishchoy bijoy hobe. In this way the Lord reciprocates. In such personal ways with his devotee. In fact, all he's interested to do is reciprocate with his devotees. And therefore, he assumes a form like a child. He assumes a form like a child in order simply to reciprocate with his devotees, in order to fulfill their desires. Arikonda kota jay amrit shrabon jay shishu rupe krida kore narayan. Vrindavan Das Thakur is explaining, just listen, just hear the pastimes in the Adikonda of Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikonda kota jay amrit sarvan, which is so full of nectar, jay shishu rupe, wherein in the form of a child, shishu rupe krida kore narayan, the Supreme Lord of Vaikuntha, he plays like a child. And why does he do that? Because he wants to fulfill. He wants to fulfill the. Even Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, they were saying we're so impoverished. And Jagannath Mishra, he took Nimai out of school because Vishwarup had studied, and Vishwarup learnt that material life is full of suffering. And as soon as Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata began to discuss Vishwarup is 16, 17 years old, we have to consider his marriage, Vishwarup left the next day. So Jagannath Mishra, he said, in order to console, they were so pained when Vishwarup left. Then Jagannath Mishra, Nimai, he became an ideal student, an ideal son to console his parents, to give them solace after the departure of Vishwarup. He became an ideal student. Everyone was glorifying Nimai. It is Joto Bhakta Gangadas Pandit Koren Shukret Shunile Matro Thakur Thoren. Whatever Gangadas Pandit said, Nimai could memorize just hearing it once. And everyone was extremely astonished and impressed, and they're all glorifying Nimai. They're saying to Sachimata, such brilliant intelligence, like a jewel of intelligence. Dijamani, the jewel of the Navadip Brahmins. And Sachimata was very happy. Jagannath Mishra became more morose. Look what happened to Vishwarup. He learned the Shastra, he learned that material life is full of suffering, he left. If this boy also studies, he will come to the same conclusion. Therefore, from now on, Nimai, you will not study. And Sachimata is arguing that who will marry this uneducated Brahmin boy? Who will marry him? And Jagannath Mishra said, look, he said that what's the point of education? Look, the great learned Pandits, they have to line up at the door of the merchants who can't even sign their name for begging alms. And just see, we are not, we are not, everything we have, everything we require, we have. We are not wealthy. We don't need to worry about. Krishna will provide everything. Doesn't need to be educated. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki. So he became mischievous. Nimai became, when taken out of school, he became very mischievous. Actually, he liked to study. Nimai he liked to study with his associates. Gore Shab Shastra Bujya Shamahito Goshti Madde Prabhu Podite Hoilo Chitto. Even though at home he had learned he had understood all the Shastra, Sarva Shastra Bujya. Goshti Madde Prabhu Podite Hoilo Chitto. Still a desire appeared in his heart, Hoilo Chitto. Goshti Madde Podite, to study in the association of other students, so that he could enjoy with them, with his childhood friends, Murari Gupta, Kamalakanda, Krishna Ananda. They're all described there, the school, the friends. So they're eternal associates. And he's come to reciprocate with them. He's come to be Dvijamani, the creche jewel of the Navadip Brahmins. And everyone falls in love with him, even though he's not even preaching Krishna consciousness. He hasn't started the Sankirtan movement, but still all the Navadip Vasis are in love with him. So he comes to associate with them, to fulfill their desires, to be a classmate of Nimai, to be a classmate. Anyone here interested in being a classmate of Nimai Pandit? Such things are possible if you chant Hare Krishna. Tato mam tat tato gadva bishate tat anantaram. Bishate tat anantar. You can enter that eternal abode. That's our goal. To enter those eternal pastimes, where we are designed, our constitutional position. And so in childhood he's very mischievous, Nimai, mischievous. Nana emote nana babe aishajja dekai bhalla bhav prakatya paschat lukai. That in the childhood pastimes, Nimai is using his opulence as a supreme personality of Godhead to avoid getting in trouble. He goes to the Ganga, he's giving the Brahmins such trouble, they can't take their bath. They have to take bath 2 or 3 times. They come out of the water, he throws sand on them. They're in the water, he spits water on them. They're chanting their Gayatri. He disturbs them, grabs their legs. Who are you meditating on? I am the incarnation for the age. And they set up all of their equipment for puja, asan and bhoga, chandan, mala. And they're in Ganga taking bath. Nimai sits on the asan, puts the garland on, takes the chandan, eats the bhoga, and calls out to the Brahmin and says, the object of your puja has been completed. He whom you are worshipping has been satisfied. And they were so angry. They all gathered together in a big group, all the Brahmins, and one after another they're explaining all of the mischievous. And even he didn't even spare the unmarried Brahmanis, the unmarried daughters of the Navadip Brahmins. What is that? Amar puja poro ami devo bar Gangu Durga Dashi Moor Mahesh Kinkar. The same message that Krishna spoke on the chariot to Arjuna, that Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchit Ashti Dhananjay, there's nothing superior to me, everything rests upon me. In the great Aishwarya Bhav, the opulence of Swayam Bhagavan, even he displays the Virat Rupa, the Vishal, the Virat Rupa, he displays Vishwa Rupa on the chariot to Arjuna. Such opulence is displayed on the chariot of Arjuna at Kurukshetra. So that same Siddhanta, as same conclude Bhagavad Tattva, truth, he presents as Gauchandra in the form of a little boy, and they think he's joking. And Krishna says that, what is that? That aham kratur, aham jagyai svadaham, aham oshara mantroham, aham evajam, aham agni, aham hutam. I am the sacrifice, I am the offering, I am the Brahman, I am the mantra. Just worship me. Anya devata bhakta yajante shadayanvita. Tipi mame vikunt yajanti avidi purvakam. Worship of the demigods is full of mistakes. Avidi Purva, Krishna explains on the chariot of Kurukshetra, at Kurukshetra. So the same message as Gauchandra, he's a young boy and I think he's joking. Ama Pujako, the girls are there. They brought their items for offering to Lord Shiva on the banks of Ganga. The Kumaris, the Navadip Brahminis, they're offering they're worshipping Dev Devata on the banks of the Ganga. And Nimai come, he says, don't worship the demigods, worship me. Ama Puja Koro, Ami Debobar, I will give benediction, worship me. Ganga, Durga, Dashi More. Ma Ganga and Ma Durga, they are my maidservants. Ganga, Durga, Dashi More. Mahesh Kinkar. And Lord Shiva, he is my follower. And they're thinking, oh Nimai, your foolish talks, your joking talks. Oh, no. Little boy, he's saying that. Just see the sweet, go to Modu Lila, the sweet pastime. That which Krishna explains in a very formal and opulent way. Satchidananda is a small child. He said the same conclusion, and they think he's joking. And then they all complain. The girls, they go complaining to Sachimata. And then they go off again to take their bath. And then Nimai's been there at the Ganga for 2-3 hours, doing all sorts of mischief to the Brahmins. And then Jagannath Mishra, very upset, you're looking for a stick, and then all of a sudden Nimai appears in the road, hasn't even been to the Ganga. As he's walking down, Vrindavan Das Thakur was explaining, like a Shonar Champa. This year we're not singing Shonar Champa. I come for Rath Yatra for Shonar Champa. And golden, maybe this year we're late Rath Yatra, golden Champa, very fragrant. Shona Champa, this time of year, the garlands. Didn't see any this year. So he looks like a golden champa. As he's walking, his limbs, Gauranga, his hair tied up, the breeze from the Ganga blowing, the sandy path, he's walking. The ink stains, the blotches of ink on his limbs and on his cloth. Gauranga. So Vrindavan Das Thakur says he looks like a Shonar Champa, a golden champa surrounded by bumblebees. The blotches of ink on his limbs as he's walking down that path. Then he comes in, and Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata looking completely perplexed. How is it that so many Brahmins came? How could they be fabricating a story? It's impossible. But this boy looks, he hasn't even been to the Ganga. His hair is the same design, the clothes, everything the same. How it's possible? And Nimai says, Ma tel dao, Ganga Shnan Korbo. Give me the oil, I'm going to take bath in the Ganga. They're completely perplexed. As a child, he has his mystic opulence. He just displays it to avoid getting in trouble. He displays his mystic opulence as God. Paschat Lukai, and then later, the Vidya Lila, as a youth, he doesn't do that. He hides his potency as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and even the devotees, he insults the Vaishnavas. he minimizes them, the Vaishnavas. What to speak of recognizing him as God? They don't even consider him to be amongst them, the Sankirtan Vaishnavas, although he's Brahmin, Nimai Pandit. And they would fall on the bank of the Ganga and pray, or if Nimai, oh Ma Ganga, please give us this one benediction. Please make Nimai Pandit a devotee. Because if Nimai Pandit would become a devotee, he would smash the heads of the smartas and the atheists and the scholars, and the Sankirtan movement would become so victorious. So subsequently, he doesn't display, he hides that opulence as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then this also adds to the flavor of the whole thing is about the relationships. He wants to enjoy the relationships. And so in the morning in Srivasangan, where every morning the devotees would collect, there is one kunda tree in Srivasangan that gave flowers all year round. Usually the kunda flowers, they come twice a year, in Kartik month and in spring. Kunda flowers, very soft, very beautiful. And this kunda tree in the house in that courtyard of Srivas Thakur, all year round giving flowers. So all the Vaishnavas every morning they would be collecting flowers for puja. Although we don't hear the puja emphasized so much in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Sankirtan and the Bhagavat Katha, the Shravanam Kirtan is emphasized, but they were all Brahmins. Garadha Pandit, Advaita Thakur, Srivas Thakur, they were all worshipping. They were all doing puja at home. They all had deities, it's understood It doesn't need to be described in detail because it's obvious. They're all first-class pujaris doing worship. So every morning they're collecting flowers. And Srivas Thakur's younger brother, Ramai, he comes and he's so jubilant. And he's bubbling with joy. And the devotees are saying, "What's this? You're so happy today?" And he says, "Yes, certainly I'm happy." And they say, "So what is the reason?" And he says, "So you like to hear?" And they said, "Yes, so then let me tell you the reason." Maha Ashambhav Kotha, Maha Adbhut Kotha, Maha Ashambhav. The Adbhut Kotha, the unprecedented news. Maha Ashambhav Kotha. Parama Adbhut Kotha, Maha Parama Adbhut Kotha. We have Adbhut temple. It's called Adbhut Mandir. Unprecedented. And there's also Adbhut Kotha. There's unprecedented, amazing pastimes. Parama Adbhut Kotha. The extraordinary news. Parama Ashambhav. The impossible has happened. Nimai Pandit Hoilo Parama Vaishnav. The impossible has happened. Maha Ashambhav, the impossible, that which we desired in the core of our hearts, but we thought would never happen. Maha Ashambhav, the impossible has happened. Nimai Pandit Hoilo Parama Vaishnav. Nimai Pandit has become a great Vaishnava. I saw him. He came back from Gaya last night, and just by uttering the name Padapadma Tirtha, the tears flowing from his eyes like the flowing of Ma Ganga, flooding the whole flower garden of Suklamba Brahmachari's house. So he becomes a Vaishnav. He becomes a Vaishnav. Before he's God, he's God. Why does he become a Vaishnav? Because it gives such joy to the Vaishnavs. It gives such exhilaration. He's become Parama Maha Ashambhav Nimai Pandit Hoilo Parama. He's become a Vaishnava. They can't believe it. Their most intimate, their most cherished desire has been fulfilled. He becomes it. Why? So he fulfills their desires. He fulfills. That's why he comes to fulfill the desires. And similarly, he comes back from there. He goes, takes bath. He comes back, and Jagannath Mishra, he's looking up and down the Ganga with the stick. Where is that Nimai? Oh, he didn't come to the Ganga today. And then Nimai comes back from taking bath. He runs in. He sees his father sitting there. He climbs up on his lap, embraces his father. Anyone here be interested to be embraced by child Nimai? Can you imagine what that would feel like? Just like a son. You know, children, they're very affectionate. To the mother and to the father, they come, they embrace, they want cuddle. You imagine Nimai comes and wants to be cuddled. Nimai comes and he wants you to cuddle him. So Vrindavan Das Thakur Kripa, at least we can hear these things and we can feel the emotions by hearing. So he comes, he climbs up on the lap of Jagannath Mishra. Jagannath Mishra is overwhelmed with complete affection. Completely overwhelmed. Putra Darsh Anande Guchilo Bichar. Putra Darsh Anande. The bliss of seeing his son. Darshan. Putra Darsh Anande. The overwhelming bliss of seeing his son. Guchilo Bichar. The bichar, all of the consideration, what has he done? He insulted these Brahmins, he's disturbing them. How is it that he appears that he hasn't even taken bath? He's thinking all of these things. He forgets everything. He forgets everything. Guchilo bichar, he just forgets everything. Shneha ponno hoilo duha kichu nahi ar. Shneha ponno hoilo. And simply he's overwhelmed by affection. Smelling Nimai's head. And Shneha ponno hoilo duha kichu nahi ar. Kichu nahi ar. Means that's it. That's all the relationship is. Affection. Affection. Nothing else. So similarly here, it's these moments of affection, even though there's great sufferings that the Pandavas experience and great setbacks. Even in the life of Bhishmadev, there's setbacks. He was meant to be the king. He was meant to be the king. He renounced that. I mean, who doesn't want to be the king of the... Anyone here offered opportunity to the heir of the throne, emperor of the world? You would not want that? No, think about it. No, Prabhu, we're not interested. Janmani, Shai Bhavadad, Bhakti, no. But emperor of the world? Clap your hands and the dancing girls come, and the feasts and whatever you want, and build a palace, and you wouldn't be interested. You have to think about it for a while before you make the decision. So Bhishmadev, he gave that up. But what reciprocation he gets from the Lord? He gives it up, he becomes more famous. More famous as the great brahmachari than as the great emperor. So what you sacrifice for Krishna, you get so much more in return. And here he is, that the Lord personally comes to be there when he's departing. Personally. How easy, antakale chamameva shmaram, at the final moment to remember Krishna. How about if he's standing there before you? So who gets such opportunities? So even though there's reverses, the Lord comes in such a glorious way. He reciprocates in a way far more wonderful. And so much reciprocation is there that who cares? The Pandavas. So therefore, Kunti, she prays that Puna, what is that? Bipada Shantutasha, Bipada Shantutasha, Tatra Jagaguru. Then Bhavato Darshanam Puna Bhava Darshanam. Yes, we'll see you again and again. So let the calamities come again and again. So it's not, the devotee is not asking. Actually, Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, they're not asking, oh, why we've had to suffer so much. They're not asking that. They don't think that they're suffering so much. Because because they have Krishna as their friend. So they're not calamities. In your association, we're prepared to accept hundreds of calamities. Yam labha chapadam nadikated. Yam labha chapadam manyate nadikam chata. Upon gaining this, one thinks there's no greater gain. Jasmin stito na duke na guru na pivachalyate. And being so situated, one is never disturbed, even amidst the greatest difficulty. Jasmin stito, those who are situated in Krishna's Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter. Jasmin stito, those who are situated in a relationship with Krishna. Na dukena, they do not experience unhappiness. Guru na pi vichalyate, guru na pi. Even in the midst of a great calamity. Guru na pi, guru means very heavy. Guru na pi vichalyate, na vichalyate. Even in the midst of a very, very heavy, very heavy calamity, they're not na vichalyate, they're not disturbed. Hare Krishna. Any questions on today's verse?
Anybody has any questions?
There's one question at the back.
Hare Krishna President. So, was all the personalities present at the time of Krishna when he was taking the body? Did all were knowing that Krishna is the supreme personality of God?
Yes. Well, all of them. I mean, the major ones. You can read who's there. But the Pandavas, they all know. The Pandavas and the associates, they all know Krishna is the supreme personality of God.
So, like, in whole verse, Vishnu Dev is teaching, is indirectly pointing towards the Kala. And in only one place is it Isave Bhagavan Sakshat. So,
yeah, well, Bhishma Dev knows that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, thank you all very much. Very enlivening this year again to be in Rath Yatra after such a period of the dark ages. And this year's Rath Yatra, so many people. The crowd was, it was amazing. So we're very enlivened to be again. We feel like Prabhupada describes how when the rains come and all the flowers and the trees are blossoming, it feels like that again now that we're, and so many new faces, all these new men, that your with mystic powers you're able to produce the surrendered souls to the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. So I'm honored to be able to take your association, and we're still in the midst, a lot more preaching to be done. So I look forward to performing Sankirtan again in your association on the streets of Kolkata for the pleasure of Jagannath Swami. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.